Series on the new normal, we look at how the pandemic is dramatically changing our everyday lives. Those changes affect the way we work, learn, socialize, and even vote. After weeks of social distancing, most of us have had our routines completely upended. Well, James Clear's best-selling book, Atomic Habits. It's an easy and proven way to build good habits and break bad ones. And he joins us now with something that we all need: ways to create new and healthy routines during this crisis. James, good morning. It's been pointed out that right now all of us are simultaneously, in essence, breaking our addiction with the normal that was. We're in withdrawal, and we've got to come up with a new way of running our lives. With everything changed, how do we start from nothing and build healthy habits again?
Yeah, it's a great question. Anytime the environment changes in a big way, behavior is going to change in a big way. And we all have had our environments and context shifted in ways that we didn't expect. So two of the things that you can focus on if you want to build better habits during this time period, two of the first things to do are to make it obvious and to make it easy. So as an example, I have wanted to use this time during lockdown to try to foster a reading habit more. And so I've sort of sprinkled books around the house. They're on my desk in the office. They're next to my bed. They're on the living room table. But then I've also taken Audible and moved it to the home screen on my phone, so it's the first thing that I see. And those are ways of making that habit more obvious and easy to do. And that whole concept, which I call environment design, just trying to make the good habit the path of least resistance, that's something you can employ for almost any habit you're trying to build, and certainly can be useful as we need to redesign the environments that we live and work in right now.
But James, this is the thing. I just think the days all run together. Tom Hanks said it best recently when he said, today is today. All day long I kept thinking, I'm going to get on the treadmill, and never did. And I'm sitting there just paralyzed at the kitchen table. So what do we do to stay on track to keep our regular routine or our exercising routine? It's so difficult.
Yeah. Hi, Gail. It's a good question. I think we all have felt that. The philosophy or the mantra that I like to keep in mind is reduce the scope, but stick to the schedule. You don't really want to have like no 0 days. 0 day is something where you don't do anything, you don't show up, you don't get one rep in or write one sentence or whatever. And it's hard right now because people are missing the habits that they had before. We wish we could go to our old gym and see our friends, or to our favorite coffee shop and journal like we always do. But because we don't have that doesn't mean that we can't do anything. And so I think rather than trying to achieve high performance right now, the place to focus is rather to avoid errors, to try to invert it, to not put up a 0 day, to reduce the scope but stick to the schedule, to realize that you can't, maybe write as much as you wanted to do, but you can write one sentence. And maybe you don't do the 45-minute workout like you normally do, but you can do one push-up. And those sound like small things, and they are in the sense of their action. They're easy to do, but they count for a lot because they cast a vote for the type of person you want to become. They help reinforce that identity. They give a signal to yourself that the situation is not ideal, the circumstance is not perfect, but I was still able to show up and be the kind of person that I want to be. And so I think that idea of scaling down but not having a 0 day, I think, is important to keep in mind during this time.
James, I think that's a wonderful point. It's about shifting your focus and redefining success for these new conditions that we're living in. One of the things that I think is really interesting in what you propose is, regardless of a person's goals, they can do something called habit stacking to reach those goals. Can you tell us what habit stacking is and how it could help us achieve our ends?
Yeah, so this is a great strategy, originally designed by B.J. Fogg, who's a professor at Stanford. And his big insight is that a good way to build a new habit is to stack it on top of an old one. So let's say that you already make a cup of coffee every morning and you're feeling stressed and uncertain by the current situation. And so you're telling yourself, it'd be great if I could build a meditation habit. Well, what Fogg recommends is you essentially take, say, after my current habit, so after I drink a cup of coffee, I will meditate for 60 seconds. And the key is choosing a small and easy to do habit and then layering it on top of those things that you already do, that you can rely on, that are going to be sort of like an anchor in your day. And what it does, and what I think is useful about it, is that it gives you a very clear and easy place to insert that habit into your life. A lot of people feel like oh, if I had more motivation, I would stick to my habits, or if I had better discipline or willpower, or if I really wanted it. But I'm not sure if that's quite right. I think many people feel like what they lack is motivation when what they really lack is clarity. And habit stacking helps make it very clear when and where a new behavior is going to occur. And so you simply do that by stacking the new behavior on top of an old one.
I love that. There are these great jokes online right now of people, day 1 quarantine, everyone's got it all put together. Day 30 of quarantine, complete mess. Maybe they follow your steps. Day 60, looking good again. All right, James Clear, thank you very much.